Hello, shalom, aloha. While I wait for you guys to tune in, I'm just going to explain why I call this video a Leo season activation. So everybody's been talking about we're in Leo season, and there's this second new moon of the month, the black moon, the moon that comes after eclipse season, kind of summarizing it all and also opening up a new beginning. This happens every year. So we're in this super powerful time. And the reading that was done yesterday, the activation reading for the new moon, kind of painted a different picture for me as I sunk deeper into it. I started to see more of what the cards were saying yesterday. So if you haven't seen the video, it is there on my Facebook wall. It's also on youtube.com/RebeccaMagic. But it doesn't matter if you've seen that video or not, because I'm going to basically summarize what happened during that reading and relate it to the bigger picture of what's happening right now. So I'm calling this time Leo season just because it's an easy title to give it, and it's one that is kind of unifying because it's what a lot of people have been declaring this stage to be called. So yeah, while we're in this Leo season, this reading that was done yesterday can be seen as super helpful. The card for where we're at right now, the card for summarizing the entire eclipse season, what did we gain from this and what are we using as fuel for the future fire here? The card was Justice. And that's a major arcana card. And it really symbolizes fairness and balance, divine order, a level playing field. And so if we feel we've come to this point of balance, we then kind of look at our reality and ask, well, why don't I have results physically of that internal balance yet? Why am I not seeing all parts of my physical life in balance? Why don't I have everything I want right here and right now? Then the following card was the challenge and gift of this time, the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is sitting on his throne in a lush, abundant forest. And until we can become the King of Pentacles, until we can manifest a reality of abundance and prosperity in the light of that inner balance that we feel, we have to make sure that all of the old stuff that was in the way of us ever achieving this in the first place is fully cleaned out, swept away, made peace with, removed, so that we can be empty to be filled as much as possible with the light of what it is we really want, with the light of truth. So if you've been feeling like, well, yeah, I've worked so hard during this eclipse season, or I've been doing the inner work, I've been doing the self-work, but I still feel a little stuck. I don't feel that I've manifested that true abundance or vision of prosperity that I have been envisioning for myself, then perhaps consider that right now we're still going through the final parts of it. And then in steps the ally card, which was the Nine of Swords. And so the Nine of Swords showed up to, from what I see, remind us right now that we're still cutting cords. The Nine of Swords shows a picture of an individual waking up in bed, waking up from a nightmare, with their hands over their eyes, and what they're covered with is a blanket that has all of the zodiac signs and the rose on it, symbolizing divine order, symbolizing that the blanket of protection that we always have is that divine order. So in knowing that, we can sleep peacefully, we can rest peacefully, we can know that we're always protected. And so the Nine of Swords symbolizes waking up from the nightmare, but it's not the 10. The 10 is the card that follows, symbolizing that after we wake up from the nightmare, we then do the work to remove the veil, remove our hands from the eye, and see that blanket of protection as divine order, and then do the final work we need to do to get to the 10 of Swords. So how that relates to us right now is like, okay, we want to be the King of Pentacles. We want to be the king on our throne and feel like we are living that vision of true prosperity, how we've always envisioned it. And we're on our way there. But we need to get from the Nine of Swords to the 10 of Swords. We need to remember that whatever programs we just woke up to, whatever thought programs or beliefs we are now ready to release, we may have done the work in becoming conscious of them, but now comes the rest of the work, that final bit that, okay, now that I know I'm aware of it, and now I have to act upon it. And in the acting upon it, the ritual is activated to really do what needs to be done to clear the way, to pave the way for a new path. So just knowing is not enough. That's only halfway there. Acting upon that knowing, acting with that awareness, when we're maintaining that awareness and acting fully with every ounce of our energy and our presence toward the goal of completing this ritual of completion, of performing this ritual of closure, that is what the real work is right now. So you may feel a little bit stuck. And anytime you feel stuck, like, why am I not manifesting all of the beautiful things that I felt coming? Why do I feel like there's a pause right now? Remember, there's still some cords that need to be cut, and it's not hard work. It doesn't need to be hard work. It's just the final pieces of the puzzle that we need to put together. And it's really the final test as well to see if we deserve what it is we're asking for next. Because if we're truly not ready to cut those cords, it will be revealed right now at the end. If we feel still overwhelmed by emotions that come up in those experiences of letting go of the past, that's a sign that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and we're not yet ready to move on. And we should be thankful for that, because we don't want to move on until we can move on 100%, until we can bring all of our light and all of our presence with us to fully enjoy what it is to come next. So, in this process of tying up loose ends and doing the work that needs to be done after all that we've realized, after the vision has been made clear, when we go and do that, when we begin or end relationships, when we clean up a mess that we made, and, instead of saying, I made this mess, I better leave it really quick, we're going to say, okay, I made this mess and I understand I shouldn't keep going in this way, but I'm strong enough to carry that awareness with me as I move through this mess and clean it up once and for all and finish what I came here to do. It's a responsibility. But if you approach that mess and you become entangled in it again, or you find that powerful emotions arise in you that you can't seem to get a handle on, then that is a sign that there's still more work to be done there. And stay there and go there and face it until you can do that, until you can enter into it with a non-attached presence, but still a determined presence, a willful presence that knows what it needs to do to get through from the 9 of the swords to the 10 of the swords. So the 10 of the swords looks like a man dead on the ground, face down, 10 swords in his back. And what that's symbolizing, because it's swords, it's the mind, it's air, it's symbolizing ending a program once and for all, killing it once and for all. You may wake up from the nightmare, but waking up is only half of it. You wake up to the truth, and then what do you do with it? How do you make it right? Because you don't want to just sit there all night replaying the nightmare in your conscious mind. Whether you're asleep or awake doesn't really matter. The dimensions are one. So whether you're asleep or awake doesn't matter. So you're now experiencing that same nightmare just from a different state of consciousness. But at least from here, in this state of consciousness, in the waking state, we have the ability to meet it there with our presence and our will, and do something, and make a change, perform alchemy, activate the inner magician. When you're asleep, you don't necessarily have the ability to do that, and all in good reason. But when we wake up from the nightmare, when we wake up to the things that we're ready to let go of, like we've done this eclipse season, when we see the whole truth, then what? That's where we're at right now. Not doubting that all that we want is on its way to us, because we can't escape that. That's the law. But rather acknowledging and honoring this part of the process where, yeah, we woke up to the truth, we see things for how it really is now, but now I know that it's going to take my action to pave the way, to get the final bits out, to clean up the mess, so that I can have a clear space to receive all that I am really wishing to manifest here now. And the final card of the reading yesterday was the 6 of Cups, and the 6 of Cups looks like a young man and woman, or even children, a young girl and boy, however you want to look at it, the polarities, exchanging these cups. And the cups are like vases with a flower in each of them, and it's a white flower. So they're like exchanging these white flowers, and the white flower symbolizes truth and purity and a foundation of righteousness. It's a virtuous exchange between them. And so this card is really symbolizing the expansion of the heart, which is our evolution, that can take place when the polarities give and receive imbalance. That the manifestations that come of that are so profound. Yet we can only do that when we come to this place of the Justice card, which was the very first card showing us what we've taken from this eclipse season. because we have that righteous foundation, that awareness of divine order, that is the true law. Only then, when we have that, can we move on to the future that is on its way of the Six of Cups, giving and receiving in love, in purity, in balance. It's like we learned the balance, and now we're coming to a point where we're going to be able to live out that balance, to actualize that balance, to manifest a world in reflection of this beautiful balance and exchange of energies between the masculine and feminine polarities. So we're getting there. We're just in the in-between right now, making sure that we do the work we need to do now that we see the clear picture. We will manifest all of our desires. But the main points here, this whole middle thing we're going through, this middle path, this whole experience, it's sandwiched in between these divine concepts, these higher concepts. The real reason we're here is to understand what we are, this divine order that we're a part of, this divine design that we're a part of, and to then give and receive based on those principles. Because whether we see it this way or not, it's the truth. Everywhere you look, from the microcosm to the macrocosm, not just about relationships between a man and a woman, or woman, woman, man, man, or relationships with everything. All of life is relationship. Your relationship with yourself is a relationship. Your relationship to the trees, to the sky, to plants, all plants, your relationship to a piece of furniture even. It's like, what is the exchange? How are we serving each other? What are we giving and receiving? Because in any given moment, we can see that we are transmitters. That's all we are. So that's what this all is about. Whether or not it's about, yes, it's about so much more in between. But my point is that the main thing, the main reason we are here, underlying it all, is to understand divine order and work in harmony with that and give and receive from that space. So I believe that this is what the Leo season is all about right now. It's really overlapping with the themes of the eclipses, of course. That is really what started us off and has put us where we're at right now. And I believe we're going to be experiencing this whole cycle. And of course, it's going to be relevant to the next cycle because it's all interwoven and interconnected. So right now, how can you see that everything you learned during the eclipse season is still being processed? And it's all for a reason. And that although we've learned a lot, it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. So if you're feeling stuck, remember, we may have learned a lot at this time, but that's only half of it. Now it's time to show up for the work that needs to be done in a way that reveals we're really ready for it. Because if we're not, it will be shown. And the reason for why we're not manifesting what it is we really want next will be revealed. How ready are you for what you're asking for? Are you really ready for it? Because if so, then when the work shows up to be done, you will do it with ease and with grace and without crisis, with an attitude of neutrality. Because truly, you are ready to be done with the old and you are ready for the new. That is what I'm going to be reflecting on this Leo season. I don't know about you, but whatever it is you're reflecting on, please feel free to share. I love this community that we've created here online. It's so awesome. And it's so good to see all of you showing up and tuning in, and I feel your presence. Thank you. Aloha. Shalom.